Lone Gunman is a notorious card in Twilight Struggle, not only for the event that it portrays, but also for the fact that this card can lose the game for the US if it is misplayed. We'll take a closer look at it here today on Legendary Tactics. Lone Gunman is one of those cards in the game that both sides need to be very aware of, as it is a DEFCON suicide card for the US and can be seriously hard to work around. We will take a look at how both sides should play this card right now. First of all, let's take a look at the event. Lone Gunman is a Soviet one-op starred mid-war event card. It is essentially the mirror image of the early war CIA-created event card for the US, in that triggering the event forces the US player to reveal that player's cards in hand. Then, the USSR may conduct operations as if they played a one-op card. It is for this reason that this card is a DEFCON suicide card. Because this card allows the USSR to conduct operations during the US turn, a coup in a battleground country at DEFCON 2 will trigger thermonuclear war. Because this occurred on the American turn, even though the coup was conducted by the Soviets, according to the rules, the US player was the cause of that war and loses the game. For the Soviets, the play of this card is very straightforward. Play it for ops and keep it in the deck. This card is a DEFCON suicide card for your opponent, so do whatever you can to keep it an ever-present threat. That said, if you do pick it up after turn 7, it's very unlikely the US will find it in their hand at that point. In this case, it is a pretty good headline, allowing you to not only see your opponent's hand, but also to use one op in advance of your first action round in any way that you see fit, either by placing influence, a realignment roll, or a particularly weak coup, particularly if it helps you to avoid the triggering of the US NORAD event. For the US player, this card can be a real nightmare in exactly the same way that CIA-created troubles the USSR. Its op value makes it impossible to send to the space race, unless by some miracle the early war containment event survives and is played in the mid-war. So how can you deal with it? One of the ways you can get rid of it is by headlining it. This does give some advantage to the USSR, who will be able to essentially take 2 turns in a row, but at least it generally won't cost you the game. There is a small chance that the Soviet player will play a card like We Will Bury You to degrade DEFCON in the headline, but this is typically unlikely as they want to take their first action round battleground country coup. Junta is a real risk to this plan, however, as it is a likely headline for the USSR in the mid-war. If you can, make sure that it is accounted for before headlining Lone Gunman. Many times, though, this will be a card you will need to hold from turn to turn to turn until you can figure out how to rid yourself of it. The China card can be invaluable in this capacity, in essence expanding your hand so you're not forced to play Lone Gunman until a better time. There are a couple of moves that can be utilized to stave off death by DEFCON, and we'll take a look at them now. Cards that raise DEFCON can be the easiest way to get you out of the jam. How I Learned to Stop Worrying, SALT Negotiations, ABM Treaty, Nuclear Test Ban, or even a headline of Summit can work if you are the gambling type. The whole point is that you need to play Lone Gunman when the DEFCON is at 3, 4, or 5, which is not a common situation in a typical game of Twilight Struggle. Any card that can improve DEFCON can potentially give you a way out. Another life-saving event card is Ask Not What Your Country Can Do For You. This will allow you to discard Lone Gunman along with any other undesirable cards safely to the discard pile. UN Intervention is another way out. Using its event to cancel Lone Gunman is possibly the best use of UN intervention in the game. Cuban Missile Crisis could also be helpful here. As long as the Soviet player does not have any influence in Cuba to remove, the USSR cannot cancel the event and cannot use the operations point provided by Lone Gunman to do a coup on a battleground country to win the game. If you are really stuck, I've seen situations where players will drop Quagmire on themselves with only Lone Gunman in hand in their second to last action round. Because Lone Gunman doesn't meet the ops requirement of Quagmire, you simply skip that action round and head into the next turn. It's definitely not ideal, but desperate times call for desperate measures. So for the Soviet player, play this one for ops any time before the turn 7 reshuffle to keep it in the deck as an ever-present threat. And after turn 7, you can play the event, typically in the headline phase. And for the US player, you may be stuck holding this card for a little while, as there's generally no shortage of coup targets in the mid-war. Get rid of it as soon as you safely can, and do what you can to create the board situation that allows you to get rid of it without losing the game. This has been our analysis of the Lone Gunman event in Twilight Struggle. We hope you got some value out of it, and if you did, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time here on Legendary Tactics.